Mercedes Monet defending against Azumi and Hazuki. Three-way match for IWGP Women's Championship. This match was excellent.
Yeah, it's a great match between those three. Now while I'm watching it, I'm looking at them like, and then at one point they end up getting Sasha running corner to corner into both of them, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize there was such a difference in speed and pace between and athleticism between like the three people in the ring. Um, and then you're watching, and you're watching them like, we've seen them, they've playing dozens of all their matches, and you're like, all right, so like it's one thing to kind of have an idea as far as, technically, who's crisper, faster, more athletic, and looks more, dynamic in the ring. It's another thing to actually see the proof. And yeah, like Azumi and Azuki look like technically better trained wrestlers than Sasha. Now, that doesn't mean that like that doesn't matter, right? Like we've seen tons of guys have great matches that or tons of people that are like, far less athletic, blah, blah, blah. You can sell the drama. A match is a match, right? Like, say what you want to about Miz. We've seen Miz be in positions where he's had great matches or people cared about and that were actually legitimately great, regardless of his skill level or whatever else. Depends on how you present yourself, whatever you're trying to get done. And Sasha's, is, from my opinion, and I think your opinion as well, the best women's wrestler this country's ever produced as far as in-ring talent. But you see them in the ring and you're just looking at it and you're like, oh, she's a step behind. And obviously, like I saw people say, oh, she's keeping up and everything, as far as like people thinking like for some reason like Azumi and Hazuki were trying to embarrass her, and it's like, well, I'm trying to have a good match. If we do the thing where like I'm trying to prove something, then like I'm gonna have a worse match by comparison. That'd be stupid. It's a dance. I need a dance partner to be like in the same thing with me. But like you're just watching, you're like, okay, so those two more, look, better than her or whatever else. But it was super fun. It was cool to see Sasha try, in a different element than what we've seen from her. Because even the match with Kyrie was a lot like her typical, big match, with a few, things added to it for oomph. But yeah, like that was nothing out of her comfort zone. This was, and like I thought she acquitted herself quite nicely. And now, and that this match is over and she retained the title, we're going to get the match that like a lot of people really want to see. Like you get a horsewoman in the ring with one of the three daughters of Stardom, and like there are no restrictions and time limits of those sorts. They just go out there and just do whatever they want. And I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, as far as the match, like I thought Hazuki was the best person in the match. I thought Sasha was number 3, but I thought she still looked good.
They all look good
in the match, and it was
yeah.
like I think the doubting of Mercedes has to like stop at some point, because I think she's gonna show up and do her thing. And the more that if she gets more chances at this, I think she's gonna be just fine. She's obviously bringing a lot of fan support in. And I think that as far as this match goes, like I'm still kind of wondering, like if they pinned Azumi anyway, why was Hazuki in here? Were they trying to like just ensure, like like I don't know, like were they trying to carry her? Like what was the deal here?
So once I saw that, my what do you call it? My spider senses went off, and like Hazuki did beat Julia in the first night of Grand Prix last year. She hadn't got a title shot. At the beginning of the year, this year, Hazuki came out, was wearing red gear all throughout the beginning of Triangle Derby. And, they gave her the Kamatani match. And I think that was more because it's like, we haven't given her a title shot in so long, and Kamatani really needs a banger match to kind of get people off of her. Throw her in there, and what do you know? Right? But yeah, like that's still there. And I, after this Yokohama show on the 23rd, like basically 2 weeks later, they're doing a pay-per-view in Fukuoka, where Hazuki is from, right? So like I've seen the posters for that they put out for the show, promotional posters, and like one is FWC together and the other one is Micah, all three from Fukuoka.
Mm-hmm.
It will make sense that one or two of them are in red belt, white belt matches. So like I think that the whole point was like get her in there, get her shined up, and have Azumi take the pin because Azumi can take the pin, and Hazuki doesn't get pinned, and you can then say that like we have protected this person as potentially a challenger in a month or whatever else, a month from now. That's what my immediate like spider sense went off, because I thought that like Micah, before basically anybody that was any kind of star in Stardom basically like lost in the Cinderella tournament. I was like, it feels like Hazuki or Micah could win this, and then like they get their title shot. Now that the title matches were already set for Yokohama, like get their match at Fukuoka. I guess that's they decided to still do that without using Cinderella for it.
Yeah. In the match, like I think it's rare that Mercedes shows up, and I think she's number 3 on the gear chart.
I think I like their gear more than Hazuki's, because Hazuki's is basically since 2019 has been on a template. I like the color dynamic stuff she's done with it lately. But Azumi did outdo her with the gear.
I also did like seeing some of the Mercedes fans tweeting about the level of physicality that was going on. And I was like, brother, this was nothing. Like like this was light.
Right. Like there was I saw someone say, I think you said it to me, you're like, wow, this match is on 1.5 speed. And to me, I was like, this is like a high speed match on 0.8. But okay. So I was, it just depends on what you've ever seen before around here.
Be careful.
Like this wasn't exactly like Natsuki Tayo and Leon.
Right. I was gonna say, be careful with them outlets that got Bell with an extra E on them, like so they don't be as swift sometimes. But there was I think there was one of them that showed Hazuki like clubbing Mercedes with the bows and all that, and
she wasn't even hitting her like in the neck at that point in time. She was just hitting her like Sasha had an arm up. She was hitting her here.
Let him hit. I promise she's okay.
Yeah. She's perfectly fine. These weren't like she wouldn't even hit her in the neck or head, and like people that I guess they're just not used to seeing like women wrestle physically. It's weird. It's like y'all just saw that with Sasha and Charlotte, not Sasha and Charlotte, but Charlotte and Rhea the other day.
Let's get her in there with Shuri next and see what it hits for.
Man, the first time you get that cravat, and then roll into a snapmare, and then Sasha,
and that right here with with the.
You want the chest kicks late in the match?
Yeah,
I mean,
that
could happen. But I'm just talking about like at the beginning, like just roll you over and just hit you, and it sounds like a gun goes off in that bitch. Oh my god, like that. She has. I mean, Mayu will give her one of those probably in the match.
Yeah,
obviously Mayu doesn't
hit
nearly as hard as Shuri does, but she hits hard with kicks.
You mentioned one of the 3 Daughters of Stardom versus a Horsewoman. Mayu Iwatani got in the ring, laid down the official challenge for Mayu, called a slap for her troubles. I believe Mercedes also called her a bitch. And also, called herself the Princess of Japan.
Which was hilarious. I popped.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, do you mean Empress or
nah.
Whatever. It's still funny.
But they set this match up, and James, they're this show is gonna be on 4/23. I see there are some people that are calling for this the main event. What are your thoughts on this? Should these people
don't know what you're talking about? No disrespect. I get why you would think that could be a main event match, but it is not. It absolutely is not. And like coming from like, I didn't know what it was coming from about it. I didn't know until I talked to Keem. Keem was like, it's coming from exactly who you think it's come from. I was like, oh god. But like from that group of people, I would suggest that like the thing that you have used for years to rightfully say, hey, this company is not treating Sasha Banks correctly or position her correctly compared to how over she is. Type in your Google Trends, pull up your Google Trends, type in Mercedes Moné, type in Tam Nakano, type in Julia, turn it to Japan, and then go to last year, last 90 days, and then see the gigantic difference in popularity in Japan. And remember, this show is happening in Yokohama Arena. That's why those two are going to main event the fucking show, not her. It's just, I'm sorry.
Quite simple, actually.
It's quite, yeah. Like, look. If you think like it's some, it's a weird thing, I would say to you, like, you can go pull up Wrestle Kingdom 12, and they were, just to accommodate people's feelings, they said that there was a 2 main event show. And the first main event happened to be Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega, and then the main event was Naito versus Okada. There's only ever one main event ever. Don't you ever forget this.
Chris Jericho claims that shit as a main event. Chris Jericho claims that shit as a main event to this day.
Because he's a worker. He's a carny too, right? So yeah, man, like it's fine. They're gonna go on. They're gonna have a match.
Double main event one,
right?
Maybe they can do that, and then they'll be like, oh, okay.
But Rich, it's not even going on second. I think it's going on third from the top.
Got you.
I think Kamatani and Mina's going on second from the top. Now, you can have a debate about that if you want to, but the main event, nah, absolutely not. Look, there are people that we talk to, like Niagara Driver, even Keen, and they feel like Julie and Tam are like LeBron, like peak LeBron carrying this card as far as juice, as far as storyline, compelling you to want to watch this. Like, don't make a mistake. Like, the show is absolutely loaded. Like, they're going to go on a run, and like their last 8 matches, all of the matches, you'd be like, you won't be surprised as they all got 4 stars. That's how loaded this card is. But as far as like the storyline, drama, and storytelling, it's the reason why it's called, All-Star Grand Queendom. It's an all-star game. So yeah, like, it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I really want to see Mercedes versus Mayu. I think that'll be great. I don't care who wins, but it'll be great, and like, there's gonna be just a slew of great matches, and I think this could be the best show of the year that we get, based on this lineup. But we'll see.
So up next we have